I woke up in the hospital bed with a stabbing pain twisting through my stomach, sharp as if a knife were turning inside me. Anna, drink your medicine. It's good for the baby. Frank held the cup with a tenderness that could melt anyone. This was the man I had loved for 5 years. I took the cup and drank everything in one breath. 3 seconds later, agony exploded. I screamed as the cup fell and shattered on the floor. Warm liquid rushed down my legs. I looked down and saw blood soaking through the hospital gown. My baby. My baby. I reached out to grab Frank. But he stepped back. Doctor. Nurse. He shouted and ran out, footsteps fading away. My vision dimmed from the pain. I drifted in and out, everything buzzing in my ears. Then I heard his voice, right outside the door. Are you satisfied now? Frank's voice was cold, ice cold, nothing like the gentle tone from moments before. A girl on the phone sobbed softly, frail and pitiful. I recognized the voice instantly. Lily, his secretary. I didn't mean it. Mr. Frank, I only switched the medicine. But I didn't think it would turn out like this. I'll pay for it with my life. I'll make it right for her, okay? Lily cried like her heart was breaking. Frank sighed. It's too obvious. If she finds out, we're in trouble. My blood froze. Don't let her get pregnant. That's the bottom line. Frank said, each word a knife in my chest, twisting deeper. If she has a baby, divorce gets complicated. 5 years of marriage, 5 years of him saying, let's try for a baby. All lies. Lily cried even harder. What do I do now? I killed your baby. Enough. Frank softened his voice. I'll come see you tonight. Just remember, blame the nurse. Say she grabbed the wrong medicine. The call ended. I lay in my own blood, unable to shed a single tear. So this is what it feels like when your heart dies completely. The door burst open. Frank rushed in, dropped to his knees, and slapped himself across the face. Anna, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I didn't watch the nurse closely enough. She gave you the wrong medicine. His eyes were red. A perfect performance. Hit me, scream at me, anything. A young nurse stood at the door, face drained of color. Mrs. Williams. I really didn't know. I must have mixed up the medicine cabinet. You're fired. Frank roared. Get out. The nurse ran off sobbing, watching her small figure disappear. Guilt washed over me. She was taking the blame for them. Frank took my hand. His was warm, but all I felt was disgust. Honey, we're still young. We'll have more kids. He kept acting. I slowly pulled my hand away, stared at him, and asked, one word at a time, Frank, can you swear you have nothing going on with Lily? Frank froze. 2 seconds later, he snapped, exploding in anger. Anna, are you accusing me? I just lost a child too. I'm grieving too. And you still want to cause a scene? He was spiraling. I watched him yell, watched his face twist strangely. I felt nothing. I was just done. For the first time, a clear thought formed in my head. I need to leave him, calmly, completely. The next day, Frank came again, still acting. Honey, have some porridge. He blew on a spoonful and held it to my lips. I pushed it away. Where's Lily? His face stiffened. She almost tried to kill herself from guilt. I told her to take some time off. Anna, she didn't mean to. The door opened. Lily walked in. She wore a white dress, looking like some innocent little flower, holding takeout bags in her hands. Mr. Frank, I brought lunch for you and Mrs. Williams. It's from your favorite restaurant, Frank's favorite restaurant. I didn't even know he had one. Lily placed the food on the bedside table. Mrs. Williams, life has to go on. You must stay strong. Life has to go on. That sentence was the final straw. I stood up and slap. My hand left a bright red mark across her cheek. Lily stared at me, stunned, tears immediately welling up. Mrs. Williams, why did you hit me? Anna, enough. Frank jumped up and shielded her behind him. Lily came to apologize. Why are you acting crazy? Lily hid in his arms, whispering through sobs, Mr. Frank, it's my fault. I shouldn't have come. A perfect performance, a duet. I pointed at them. If you're innocent, swear it. Swear on the baby I just lost. Frank yelled. Of course we're innocent. Mrs. Williams, you're really misunderstanding us. Lily cried harder. Frank wrapped an arm around her and guided her out. Lily, go home. I'll handle this. At the door, Lily turned back. Her eyes held no trace of fear or innocence, only provocation. She left behind a strong perfume scent, the same scent I smelled on Frank's jacket last week. He told me it was from a client. I sat there inhaling it until the whole room reeked of her, and then I laughed. Laughed at myself for being blind. That afternoon, the nurse came to give me my IV. When she left the room, I waited a minute, then quietly pulled the needle out. A bead of blood rose. I wiped it away, slipped on my slippers and walked out of the room. The hallway was empty. I headed toward the stairwell and pushed the door open, and then I saw them, right on the landing below. Frank had Lily pressed against the wall, kissing her hungrily. His hands were everywhere. Frank. Not here. Lily gasped. Why not? She's lying in bed upstairs, he chuckled. Once I divorce her, I'll marry you. I held onto the cold wall, slowly backing away, not angry, not shocked, just done. I returned to my bed, quietly reinserted the 4-needle. The nurse would never notice, she was too busy. Staring up at the ceiling, my mind began making a list, gather evidence. Hire a lawyer, make him lose everything. I was discharged a few days later. That night, I received an anonymous text, Gold Crown Bar, VIP Room 3. Your husband is here, having fun. Attached was a blurry photo, Frank holding a woman. I replied, Who are you? No more messages came. At p.m. I stood outside Gold Crown Bar. First time in a place like this, Frank always said, Good women don't go to bars. I pushed open the VIP room door. Loud music, cigarette smoke everywhere. Frank sat in the center of a sofa. Lily was on his lap, feeding him fruit. The room was filled with men and women, his friends. Hey, look who's here. The wife. A blonde guy laughed. The room fell silent. Frank's smile froze. He pushed Lily off his lap, not too fast though, and stood. Anna, what are you doing here? His tone showed clear annoyance. I came to take you home, I said. The room erupted in laughter. Frank, your wife really keeps you on a leash. Someone teased. Frank's face darkened. He grabbed my arm. Go home. I'm talking business. Business? Does business require her sitting on your lap? I pointed at Lily. Lily bowed her head like some helpless victim. Frank exploded. Anna, enough. You're paranoid and suffocating. I didn't marry you so you could police me every day. Yeah. Blonde guy chimed in. Frank's an attractive man, of course he has to socialize. You're way too uptight. Frank seemed encouraged. He started venting in front of everyone. Exactly. It's been 5 years. She's the same every day. I'm tired, so what? So you admit it? I said. Admit what? Lily and I are colleagues. Frank shouted, and honestly, Anna, if you weren't so infertile, my mom wouldn't pressure me so much. Do you know how much stress I'm under? Lily whispered. But, Mr. Frank, didn't you say you didn't want kids too soon? Frank was drunk and stupid. Of course I don't. How can I have fun if she gets pregnant? Divorce would be a mess. The room burst into laughter. I stood there, feeling my blood turn cold. For 5 years, I said quietly, you made me drink medicine. You said it was to help me get pregnant. Frank's face shifted. What exactly was that medicine? He didn't answer. Blonde guy laughed again. Oh, those herbs? Frank said he gets tired of the same dish every day, so sometimes he needs something fresh but can't risk the main course getting pregnant. Main course, that was me. Lily was the side dish. I understood everything, completely. I turned and left the room. The laughter behind me felt like knives in my back. Outside, it was pouring rain. I stepped into it without an umbrella. My phone buzzed. Another message from the anonymous number, a video this time. Frank and Lily in a hotel bed. No shame, no fear. Then a voice message. Lily's coy voice. Sis, he won't let you have his baby, but he wants one with me. Who do you think he really loves? Rain fell harder. The phone screen dimmed. Hope died completely, but somewhere in that frozen place inside me, a fire lit. When I got home, I walked into the study. On the top shelf was a glass jar filled with 1,000 tiny paper stars. I spent an entire year folding them, one for each day, as an anniversary gift for Frank. He said he would treasure them forever. I took the jar down and walked into the kitchen, turned on the gas stove. A blue flame rose. One by one, I tossed the paper stars into the fire. They curled, darkened, and turned to ash. Just as the last star disappeared, the door opened. Frank was home. He smelled the burnt paper and rushed into the kitchen. What are you burning? Trash, I said calmly. He spotted the ashes on the stove. He didn't recognize them. Of course, he never cared for the things I gave him. Anna, he softened his voice again, slipping back into character about the bar. Let me explain. It was business, just playing along. You know you're the one I love. I watched his performance, 5 years, and I never realized he was this good at acting. I already talked to Lily. She knows she crossed the line. Frank stepped closer, trying to hold me. Honey, let's start fresh. I brushed past him and picked up my phone. Open the video. The sounds from the hotel room filled the kitchen. Lily's moans, Frank's voice, his face turned ghostly pale. Where did you get that? I stepped back when he lunged for the phone. Lily sent it to me. His expression changed panic, then anger, then resignation. Fine. You saw it. He loosened his tie. Anna, men have needs. I take care of this home. I provide for you, so I have some fun. So what? It's not like I'm divorcing you. He said it as if it were the most natural thing in the world. You should be grateful I haven't kicked you out. I laughed. So I should thank you for cheating? Don't twist my words. Frank snapped. Look, it's over. Go drink your medicine. The doctor prescribed it for your health. He pointed to the dining table, a bowl of black, steaming herbal supplement, the same supplements from the past 5 years. I picked up the bowl and sniffed it, then looked at him. Frank, what is this? He avoided my eyes. Herbs for your health, really? I walked over and held the bowl out to him. Then drink it. Frank shoved me hard. Are you crazy? This is for you. The bowl crashed to the floor, shattering. I crouched, picked up a shard, and used it to scoop a bit of the remaining liquid. You won't drink it. Then I'll take it to a lab. Let's see what I've been drinking for the past 5 years. Now he panicked. Anna, stop. Enough with this drama. We're getting a divorce, I said. Calm, steady. Frank froze, then erupted. Divorce? In your dreams. I won't agree. And why not? I asked. Because you can't live without me. Frank jabbed a finger toward me. You've never worked since graduation. Everything you have, your clothes, your food, your life, I paid for it. Divorce? You won't get a cent. He grabbed his coat and stormed out. Think it over. Apologize to me, or you'll regret it. The door slammed. I looked around at the mess, then went to my closet. Hidden in the back was a small safe. I opened it with my fingerprint. Inside were my diplomas, certificates, and a bank card with 200,000 yuans, my secret savings from years of pinching every penny. I pulled out the documents and wiped the dust off, then dialed a number. Hello, Attorney Zhang. This is Anna. I'd like to inquire about divorce proceedings. A week later, I went to Frank's company. The receptionist looked uncomfortable. Mrs. Williams, Mr. Frank is in a meeting. I'll wait. Employees passed by, whispering, That's Frank's wife. She looks so plain. She doesn't work, right? He supports her completely. No wonder Frank likes Lily more. She's not worthy of him. I pretended not to hear. 10 minutes later, Lily walked in, wearing Chanel, heels clicking, makeup flawless, nothing like the helpless little flower from the hospital. Mrs. Williams, what brings you here? She smiled sweetly. Frank is very busy. Maybe you should go home. I'm waiting for him. She sat next to me and flipped her hair, exposing a fresh love bite on her neck. Mrs. Williams, some things can't be forced. She whispered, Frank's heart isn't with you anymore. I stayed silent. Oh, by the way, she said lightly, touching her belly, I might be pregnant. If it's a boy, Frank wants me to keep it. Her eyes gleamed with triumph. At that moment, my phone rang. Frank, Anna, I'm in a meeting. What do you want? I'm at your company. We need to talk. I'm busy. Frank yelled. Stop bothering me. Talk at home. He hung up. Lily laughed. See? He won't interrupt a meeting for you. He doesn't even read your messages. She showed me her phone. Dozens of intimate chats, transfers, 52,000, 131,400, all while my messages sat as read. Around us, employees were enjoying the show. I stood up, reached into my purse, and took out the divorce agreement I had prepared. I wanted to settle this peacefully, I said, then rip. I tore the agreement in half. Lily's smile collapsed. What are you doing? I tossed the pieces into the trash. Tell Frank I turned to leave. We're done discussing divorce. At his birthday banquet. I'll talk to him myself. Lily went pale. Birthday banquet? I smiled. My birthday banquet. The one he throws every year, this time. I'll give him a special gift. The night before the birthday banquet, Lily knocked on my door. She walked in as if she owned the place. Mrs. Williams, I'm here to drop off the dress and jewelry. She pointed at several big boxes on the sofa. Frank put me in charge of everything for tomorrow, the venue, menu, guest list. Her eyes swept around my home with disdain. He said this will be your last birthday as Mrs. Williams, so it needs to look grand for appearance's sake. I watched her quietly. Oh, right, she added casually, pulling down her collar to reveal more love bites. Frank left these last night. He said you're like a dead fish, no fun at all. My fingers curled into fists. And another thing. Lily leaned closer, lowering her voice. Remember the day you miscarried? While Frank was pretending to comfort you, he was video calling me from the hospital kitchen. He was literally kneeling, begging me not to be mad. She smiled. Then she said the sentence that broke every last piece of restraint I had. You know how your mom died, right? Your dad pushed her to death. You're the same cheap life, just like her. Something snapped. I stared at her face, then turned around, grabbed the vase from the coffee table, ceramic. Heavy. Lily was still smirking. What, you gonna hit me? Go on. If you touch me, Frank will bang. The vase slammed into her head. Lily's eyes rolled back. She collapsed to the floor. I hadn't used full force. She wasn't dead, just unconscious. My heart was pounding, but not from fear, from exhilaration. I had waited too long for this. I dragged her to the guest room, tied her wrists and ankles, gagged her, and locked the door. Then I took her phone, fingerprint unlock, her gallery, her chats all full of evidence, cheating photos, money transfers, screenshots of plans to make me miscarry, and a hidden folder. Financial fraud records from Frank's company. Lily kept them to protect herself. I backed up everything to the cloud, then walked into my dressing room. The dress for tomorrow hung in the center, a champagne-colored gown Frank bought last month. He said I needed to look like a CEO's wife. I took it down and tossed it aside. Instead, from the back of the closet, I pulled out a different dress, black, sharp, elegant. I bought it with my own small savings, never had the chance to wear it. I put it on and stood before the mirror. The woman staring back at me had cold eyes and a faint smile. Showtime, I whispered. The banquet was held at the most luxurious hotel in the city. Media cameras were everywhere. Frank loved his reputation. He always turned my birthday into a press event. As we entered arm in arm, applause filled the hall. Frank leaned down and whispered sweetly, "You're stunning today, Anna." I smiled. "So are you. Act all you want." The ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and flower arches. Frank led me around, toasting guests and receiving compliments. Such a loving couple. A model marriage. "When are you having a baby?" Frank joked. "No rush." Then he revealed a necklace, a diamond piece worth over $1 million. "For my princess," he said, placing it around my neck. The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed wildly. Frank squeezed my shoulder, whispering, "As long as you behave, I'll treat you well." I said nothing. When we reached the media zone, a reporter asked, "Mrs. Williams, Frank gave you such an extravagant gift. What will you be giving him in return?" The room fell silent. Frank chuckled, trying to smooth things over. "My wife is the best gift." I lifted a hand, stopping him, then spoke clearly into the microphone. "My gift for him tonight is the woman he loves the most." Silence. Frank's expression froze. "Anna, what are you talking about?" I snapped my fingers. The giant curtain in the center of the hall began to fall. Spotlights converged. When the curtain lifted, the entire room gasped. Lily was tied to a chair on the stage, gagged, messy, and terrified. Flashbulbs exploded. Click, click, click. "Is that Lily, the secretary? Frank's rumored mistress?" "Oh my God!" Frank went white. He lunged toward me, gripping my wrist painfully. "Anna, what the hell are you doing? Untie her." I smiled calmly. "What's the rush? You haven't seen the best part yet." My security guards stopped Frank from reaching the stage. I stepped up, microphone in hand. "Everyone, please quiet down." The hall gradually stilled. "I'd like you all to be witnesses tonight." I inserted a USB drive into the console. The screen lit up with the first image, a box of birth control pills, next to a hospital report, for 5 years. Frank made me drink supplements. He said they would help me get pregnant. My voice was steady. Turns out he was feeding me birth control. 5 years of infertility, not because of me, but because he never wanted a child. Gasps erupted across the room. Frank shouted from below, "Anna, stop making lies." I ignored him. I clicked the next file, a video, the hotel room, faces blurred but Frank and Lily's voices unmistakable. "Frank, when will you divorce her?" "Soon. Once she signs the no-asset agreement." "What if she gets pregnant?" "She won't. I make her take birth control every day." The room fell deathly silent. Livestream comments were exploding online. "Monster. 5 years of forced birth control. That's abuse. Throw him in jail." Frank's business partners began leaving their seats. "Mr. Williams, our cooperation ends here. We can't afford to be associated with this. Goodbye." One after another, like dominoes, Frank tried to chase after them, babbling excuses, but reporters swarmed him. Why did you drug your wife? How long have you been seeing Lily? Was the miscarriage planned? On stage, Lily struggled violently. I walked over, removed the gag, Lily, I said. Anything you want to tell us? She broke down instantly. It was Frank. He made me do everything. He said he'd marry me if I obeyed. Even the financial fraud, it was all his idea. I have evidence. She threw Frank under the bus in seconds. Frank went ballistic. Lily, you stupid slut. You think I'd marry you? You're just a toy. Two dogs biting each other. Perfect. I lifted the microphone again. Based on everything presented tonight, I announced that I will divorce Frank Williams. The hall erupted, and Frank's world collapsed. Frank's downfall was faster than anyone expected. First, all business partners terminated their contracts. He bled millions in penalties alone. Then the banks withdrew their loans. The company's cash flow snapped overnight. Stocks plummeted 10 consecutive limit downs. 80% of the company's market value evaporated. Media camped outside Frank's building, shouting questions at him. Mr. Williams, why did you drug your wife? Do you feel guilty toward the unborn child? Are you responsible for the miscarriage? Employees resigned in groups. No one wanted to stay in a doomed company with a disgraced CEO. Netizens organized boycotts, protesting outside the building. One afternoon, Frank walked out of the office and was surrounded by angry protesters. Scumbag, abuser, murderer. Someone threw an egg. Someone else threw a rock. The rock hit his forehead. Blood streamed down his face. An ambulance took him away. I saw it on the news. A photo captured him slumped on a stretcher, the once powerful CEO reduced to a defeated, bloodied man. I turned off the TV, pulled out my phone, and blocked every method of contacting him: WeChat, calls, email, everything. Then I deleted his number. 5 years of marriage, finally over. On the day of the divorce, Frank arrived at the Civil Affairs office early. He wore an old suit. His face was unshaven, his eyes sunken. Seeing me, he tried to walk over, but he limped. The injuries from the protest hadn't healed. Anna. His voice was hoarse. Can we talk? I walked past him without a glance. He followed. Anna, I know I messed up. Please give me one more chance. I cut ties with Lily, I swear. You're the one I love. I stopped, turned to face him. Frank, I said, you never loved me. He froze. You loved the version of me who was obedient, gullible, easy to control. That Anna is gone. He looked stunned. She died on a hospital bed, I said, along with our baby. I stepped into the divorce office. The paperwork was quick. Frank's hand trembled as he picked up the pen. Anna, if I sign this, then we're really. Sign, I said. He looked into my cold eyes and finally understood. Nothing could be undone. He scrawled his name. I signed next. Red marriage book exchanged for green divorce certificate. The staff handed them to us. Frank opened his mouth to speak, but I had already stood up and walked out. He stumbled after me, nearly tripping several times. Anna. Wait, Anna. I didn't look back. Outside, the sunlight was warm. I looked up and took a deep breath. For the first time in 5 years, the air felt clean. My phone buzzed. A flight confirmation. 3 p.m. destination, New York. I hailed a cab to the airport. As the car pulled away, I glanced back. Frank stood at the door of the Civil Affairs office, a lost child, getting smaller and smaller until he vanished completely. 3 months later, I heard news from a friend. Frank's company had gone bankrupt. Assets frozen, luxury homes seized, debts piled up. Lily tried to use the scandal to squeeze money from him. Frank beat her with a broom and threw her out. Family, friends, everyone blocked him. He now rented a damp basement apartment for $150 a month. My friend said someone walking by late at night heard him crying inside, like a child. He rummaged through old boxes looking for something to hold on to. He found an empty glass jar. The jar that once held 1,000 paper stars. He held it all night. At dawn, he tried to fold a paper star, but the only paper he could find was a crumpled grocery receipt. His hands were clumsy. He couldn't fold it properly. The final star was an ugly, wrinkled ball. He stared at it for a long time, and finally realized what he lost wasn't money, wasn't the company. He lost me. The Anna whose world once revolved around him, and she would never return. Winter in New York was harsh, but I had a fire inside me. With my 200,000 yuan savings, I enrolled in an advanced program at a business school, daytime classes, nighttime waitressing. Exhausting but liberating. 6 months later, with top grades and fluent English, I landed an internship at an investment bank. I started at the bottom, worked 16 hours a day, Coworkers said. Anna, you're working too hard. I just smiled. If I didn't work hard, who would do it for me? 1 year later, I became a full-time analyst. 2 years later, a vice president, one of the youngest in the company's history. People asked me out. Clients tried to woo me. I rejected all of them. My heart was a locked door, its key thrown into the ocean, until the annual physical exam. The doctor smiled. Congratulations, you're pregnant. I froze, counting the dates. It was from the last time with Frank, before the divorce. The doctor asked gently, should I record the father's information? He's dead, I said. The doctor didn't ask again. Outside, I stood on the New York street, hand on my belly. This child, the one who never had a chance to be born, had returned to me. A second chance. I decided I would keep this baby, raise the child alone. I didn't need a husband or a marriage. I could give my child everything. That night, I dreamed of a chubby little baby smiling at me. When I woke up, my pillow was wet, but for the first time, there were tears of joy. When my daughter Anna Jr., whom I lovingly called Annie, turned 3, I received a transfer order from headquarters. They wanted me back in China to lead a major acquisition project. At the airport, the media was already waiting in the VIP lane. Director Anna, welcome home. You're known as Wall Street's youngest Chinese-American prodigy. How do you feel returning to China? Camera flashes burst like fireworks. Annie clung to my shoulder and whispered, Mommy, who are these people? They're here to welcome us, I said, kissing her cheek. A motorcade escorted us to the hotel. At the welcome dinner, I met the giants of China's financial world. Director Anna, talented and beautiful. We hope to collaborate in the future. Amid the chatter, I overheard whispers. Isn't her ex-husband Frank? Which Frank? That bankrupt one. He's begging for investors now. No one pays attention to him. I took a sip of wine, expression unchanged. 3 days later, the bidding conference began. Frank's new little company was on the list, a pathetic attempt at a comeback. I sat in the center of the judges' panel, flipping through proposal after proposal. When it was Frank's turn, he stepped onto the stage wearing an ill-fitting suit. He was thin, exhausted, sweating. Esteemed judges, our company may be small, but we have sincerity, he stammered. I flipped through his proposal, full of loopholes, sloppy, unprofessional. When scoring time arrived, I picked up the microphone. Bidder no. 7. I said, your proposal is underdeveloped, funding insufficient, execution unrealistic, recommendation eliminate. The entire panel agreed. Frank's face went paper white. After the meeting, he intercepted me in the hall. Anna, his voice cracked, please give me a chance, for old time's sake. Security stepped forward immediately. Sir, please step back. Frank struggled, desperate. Then suddenly, he dropped to his knees. Anna, I know I was wrong. Look. I still kept our wedding ring. He pulled a small ring box from his pocket, the ring old and scratched. I stared down at him kneeling on the floor, holding that faded ring. My heart was calm. Frank, I said, I'm grateful to you. His eyes lit up with hope. Because you taught me how to stop loving someone. I turned, picked up Annie, and walked away. Annie whispered, Mommy, why was that man crying? Because, I answered. He lost something important. Can he find it again? No, I said softly. Some things once lost are gone forever. On the day the project was finalized, I held a press conference. Frank attended, sitting in the very back, like a ghost. I walked onto the stage, confident and calm. I introduced the project, the vision, the social impact. Flashbulbs flickered. At the end, I picked up the microphone. I will personally donate 10% of my project proceeds to establish the Angel Fund, dedicated to supporting single mothers and victims of domestic abuse. Thunderous applause filled the hall. This fund, I continued, will be named after my first child who never made it into this world. May this child protect others. Frank covered his face in the corner. During the Q&A, a reporter asked, Director Anna, your ex-husband is here today. Do you have anything you want to say to him? The room fell silent. Cameras swiveled toward Frank. He curled into himself in the back row. I lifted the microphone. Yes, I said. I want to say thank you for not cherishing me. It forced me to grow wings. Applause erupted again. Frank suddenly leapt up, trying to run out, but reporters surrounded him. Mr. Williams, what do you think of her success? Do you regret it? What would you say to the unborn child? Frank broke. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. He shoved through the crowd and fled. I watched from the stage, just as he once watched me, crushed beneath him. Life always finds balance. 3 years passed. Annie was 6, now in first grade. I bought a home in Shanghai, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Huangpu River. My career stable. My daughter healthy and bright. Friends introduced me to suitors. I declined gently. It wasn't that I no longer believed in love. I simply didn't need it. I could give myself and my daughter all the safety we needed. One day, while shopping with Annie, I saw Lily in a children's clothing store. She was a sales associate, tired and worn out, being berated by a customer. This price? Are you robbing me? I am sorry, ma'am. What are you sorry for? You think you're still some CEO's secretary? Lily bowed repeatedly, eyes full of tears. She noticed me. Her face went pale. She quickly turned away. Later, I heard she married a small-time businessman. He abused her. She left. Now she's raising a child alone. As for Frank, a friend told me he had opened a tiny convenience store in his hometown, barely making ends meet. At a class reunion, he got drunk and pulled out his wallet. Inside was an old photo of us in college. My wife. My ex-wife. She's incredible now. He slurred. No one responded. He pressed the photo to his chest and cried. What I lost wasn't the marriage. It was her. I lost her. But I would never hear those words. I sold the luxury home Frank bought for me years ago, the one filled with painful memories. Every penny went to the Angel Fund. I took Annie to see it one last time. Mommy, was this your old home? She asked. It used to be. Why isn't it anymore? Because I walked out of the ruins, I said, lifting her into my arms, and into a new world with you. Annie hugged my neck. Mommy, I will always love you. And I will always love you, I whispered. The sun was setting behind us. We walked away from the house that once held so much pain. Ahead of us, our new home, glowing with warm lights. The world was celebrating my rebirth. Those still trapped in their ruins had nothing to do with me anymore. My story truly began the day I left him.